Another argument that internet addiction disorder doesn't belong in the DSM is that it's frequently symptomatic of other disorders. Depression, anxiety, trauma. Often it's an escape from things we don't want to deal with. From our everyday lives to things far, far worse. Though the most common disorder might just be that we have too much time in our hands. I think we might have an excellent example of internet addiction disorder right here in class.
A lot of times when we think about addiction, we think about drugs and alcohol and sometimes even sex. We've been trained to think of addiction this way by AA and NA and even our movies and literature. Thomas de Quincey, Confessions of an English Opium Eater, phenomenal read. Elizabeth Vargas, Between Breaths, a book about alcoholism. It's always best not to hit the camera when you're throwing books around. Augustine Burroughs, Dry, a memoir. Mary Carr, Viper Rum, a book that contains a poem on alcoholism. I've got two more books over there that I'm staring at. One about Sigmund Freud and cocaine addiction, and another about microdosing LSD and asking the question, is that addiction? And while we're on books, I'll say I wrote my own book about addiction. It's called Coming Clean. I'll link to it down below. And it was about alcohol. But so often we get locked in on drugs and alcohol and we forget about other addictions, socially acceptable addictions, maybe addictions like coffee and sugar, which I lined out in the beginning of this video. But as I also lined out in the beginning of this video, there's a lot of discussion right now about internet addiction, about social media addiction, whether that's even a thing. Do we really have to ask that question? But this video isn't so much about addiction as it is about the commercialization of addiction. This last weekend I was visiting family, and while I was sitting on the couch, I was scrolling through my Instagram feed, and I noticed something curious. Let's take a look at my Instagram. Oh, here's a post by Emily Freeman. Good author. You should check out her work. Go down one post. Fiverr, a sponsored post. Something about animation for a logo, and I will say that I have looked up animated logos within the last 2 weeks. Now let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, here's an advertisement for Weather Live. Now, last night I will say that we had terrible storms here with a lot of wind, and I was using my weather app quite a bit. Let's go down another 5 posts. Are you starting to see a pattern? Looks like it's some sort of hipster-looking pen-carrying case. I love pen-carrying cases because I love pens. So maybe this one was targeted to me too. Oh, that's actually 5 right there. What is that? Official exclusive NYC. Another advertisement. All the vintage cameras. It's beginning to feel like they actually know what they're doing. That's just Instagram. Let's go to Facebook. The second post out of the gate from Fujifilm X. There's an advertisement that I like, and yes, I have been looking at Fuji cameras. Now let's count. 7, 8. Oh, here's an ad for Adobe Creative Cloud. 7, 8. Oh, Disciple Media. Don't even know what that is. About every 8 posts on Facebook is an advertisement. Let's check out Twitter. When I go down one screen, what do I see? There's an advertisement. I don't really know what that's for, but we're gonna keep scrolling and counting. 1, 7, 8. Think with Google. There's another sponsored post. Every 8 posts on Twitter, it's the same. Whether we can become addicted to social media or the internet is kind of beside the point, and in fact, for me, it's sort of a foregone conclusion. The question I want to start asking is, while I'm plugged into the internet, while I'm on social media, what's happening? Who's targeting me, and how are they targeting me? It wasn't until this last weekend that I realized that 20% of the content that I consume on Instagram is an ad, and 12-point-something% of the content I consume on Facebook and Twitter is an ad too. And they're not just general ads, not like, hey, maybe this new car would be great for you, or you should buy this kind of coffee. These are specifically targeted ads to me. Camera equipment, outdoor gear, certain types of clothes that I really like. Flannel. I actually don't like flannel that much. It's just laundry day. And as I began to think about the ads built off my browser history, I got a little uncomfortable. If you're like me, maybe you should take a step back and think about the amount of content you're consuming on social media and what's embedded in that content. how much of that content is targeted advertising, and then ask yourself, are you comfortable with that? Hey, if you are, just keep on scrolling, man. But if you're not, maybe you should rethink your internet usage too. So today, here's what I hope you'll do. I hope you'll get on your social media feed. I hope you'll scroll through and look at the ads. Maybe down below here in the comments, tell us, how are you being targeted by advertisers? What kind of ads are showing up in your social media feeds? Are the ratios the same? Is it 20% for Instagram? Is it 12 point whatever percent for Facebook and Twitter? And if it is, let us know how you feel about that. As always, thanks for watching, and I may not see you tomorrow, but I'll see you around.